Enough about that, I'll talk about that later. Coach Helen, that's me, for You Fit Studio, talking about you are what you believe. Now, many people would have heard, me included, of the saying, you are what you eat. And actually, I kind of don't necessarily 100% agree with that either. However, it's kind of true when it comes to your identity. There is something quite similar in it, to be fair. Identity is very complicated, right? And it's built up over years. This isn't just something that just comes that you don't wake up one morning and go, I am this. There's a set of different habits, behaviours, qualities, whatever you want to talk about, that is instilled in somebody, and it can be from as young as childhood, to be fair, it can be. It's definitely developed. It's developed over a long time, right? With reassurance, or it's been redefined or reconfirmed, however you want to say it, that somebody creates an identity around themselves. Now, these can be constructive, or they can be destructive in some sense. We create identities built on essentially a layer of qualities, a layer of beliefs, a layer of habits. Now, if you have a belief system or a belief in as such as, this is a common one, I've heard it in the last 4 days, I am destined to be over 100 kilos. Right, that is a genuine belief of a client that I've spoken to this week. I believe that I will never be able to get the job that I want. I believe I'll never be able to get the relationship that I want. I can't change. Oh, that's a good one. I'm not healthy. That's a good one. Oh, I tell you what is a good one, I believe. Is a belief, and it rolls into identity as well. I'm a smoker. My identity is a smoker. What is my habit? I smoke. I can't stop smoking. Belief, right? So what does that roll into? It rolls into identities. We hold whatever we say when we have a belief to be 100% true, right? So if you have a belief system that I am an unhealthy person, a belief system that I cannot lose weight, that I am unhealthy, I am overweight, and define I am fat, right, as a definition, that becomes a belief system. It rolls up into identity. Now, it isn't really a huge long life today, actually, in consideration, because I've talked about a lot of these identities before, and habits, etc., and how you change all of those. One of the things that we have to consider is that often we will look at our habits first before we look at our identities, right? So what do? We start, if we see this as a hierarchy, we say that identity is at top. So everything you do underneath is based on your identity. So let's say I define my identity as let's just say an unhealthy person. I'm unhealthy. It's a joke amongst my friends, I'm the most unhealthy amongst all my friends. Woo, win, right? I am unhealthy. Underneath that is a belief system of I am unable to exercise, I can't lose weight. My belief is that physically there's something different with me, that I can't lose weight. And then my habits underneath will be I don't exercise, I don't eat well. Environmentally, I might choose to place myself in situations where I know I'm not going to be making the most healthy choices, right? So at the top is identity, to repeat. So I am unhealthy. Under that is the belief I cannot lose weight, right? Belief I am destined to be overweight. Underneath that is habits and environment. So habits are I overeat past what I know I should, because what's the point? I can't lose weight. I don't exercise because what's the point? I'm unhealthy. And then underneath environmentally, I continually choose to put myself in situations that are unhealthy because that is my identity. Now what we do, right, I was about to say, what we do as people is we often start at the bottom, which is okay, right? It's a strategy, really. A strategy would be to start from the bottom. So starting from the bottom would be, right, environmentally, I am going to put myself into let's just say, at different times, a gym situation. Or environmentally, I am going to adapt my environment to work out online, for example. So I'm going to adapt my environment. So I'm going to start from the bottom, then work my way up. So then what am I going to do next? Well, if I've changed my environment, to have more healthy food in, let's say for example, and I'm going to be training online. The next step would be habit-based. Well, let's make that a habit. So I train 3 times a week and I only buy a certain amount of foods, percentage-wise, because I've watched Coach Helen's live about traffic lights in my food. So I've got mainly my orange and my greens, a few bit of reds. But actually my habits are to buy good food in and train 3 times a week. Okay, so far so good. Strategically, changed environment, started some habits. So then what happens after that? Now the problem is that a lot of people will get to that stage and then they will find they hit a brick wall at some point. Like, it will work from a lot of time. Sam and I talked about level 1, 2 and 3 clients and what that means. Like, level 1 is probably that, right? Level 2 clients start thinking about mindset, right? They start to really challenge themselves about that. So if you start from the bottom, environment changed, habits are changed. Well, now we're hitting into what? If we're thinking about the ladder, we're hitting identities. So now we're hitting an identity blocker. Or in fact, sorry, tell a lie, belief got around the way. So belief first, right? So belief then identity. So environment, habit, belief. So now we're hitting beliefs. So here's where it gets challenging when you have to ask your mindset questions. So if my belief is that I am an unhealthy person, are my habits going to remain consistent, and is my environment going to stay the same way? Probably not. Consistently for a long time. If I believe that I'm destined to be overweight, does that mean then that I'm going to truly remain consistent and believe in the habits that I'm creating? No. If I believe I can't change, is the training going to be consistent and be enough to get me the health or weight goals that I want? No. So what is it then? What is it that then needs to change for this to be consistent? Now, we've talked about it from the bottom up before. Like I said, we talked about then going into mindset and then changing that mindset as your next stage, and then somebody truly changing their identity. Now, a different way of flipping this, right, and this is a different strategy, and it does work when implemented by somebody who is looking at something from a very different point of view. And I'm working with a few clients like this right now, which is fascinating, which is what I've done live. So if I'm starting from the top down, I'm saying the first thing I want to do is change my identity, not my environment, not my habits. I'm going to start by changing my identity. So what does that mean? Well, firstly, it means challenging my own beliefs. So if my beliefs are, I'm going to use the same ones, right? So I have to start changing my beliefs. So how do I change my beliefs to change my identity? The first thing is, what is my identity? I've talked about this again on a previous live, and a great one that I'm also working on with a client is, my identity is that of an athlete. Or my identity is that of the fittest person on the planet. Oh, really? Okay, well, think about that. Okay, if I identify not as an unhealthy person, I identify as the healthiest person on the planet. What does that then mean? What will my beliefs be? If I'm going to imagine myself as that person, what will my beliefs be? Well, my beliefs be that I can do anything. I can be as healthy as I want. I can eat well all the time. I can train as much as I want and manage everything. Manage your life professionally and train like all the time. I can be fantastic. I'm going to be a superhero. Or even, I love that one, I have done the superhero belief as well. If you're a superhero, what would you do, right? Same premise. So if you're working from the top down and say, right, my identity is that of the most healthiest person on the planet, and my beliefs, if I write out all the beliefs that I want to believe in, to be that person, what are they? Well, I'm not destined to be, I can be any way I choose to be. That's not my destiny. I control my destiny. I make healthy choices as your habits, right? So what will habits be? Healthy choices, train as I want, right? Those are habits. Environmentally, if I identify as an athlete / superhero, I will choose to place my environments to be the best they possibly can be, because I'm a professional athlete. So this is my job. My job is to partially make sure that all my environments are on point, right? So if anybody is actually watching or listening to this and struggling currently right now with, right, don't seem to be consistent, the things you have to ask yourself is not if my environment is set up perfectly for this. It's not if my habits are necessarily consistent enough. It's really asking and challenging yourself, what is your identity right now? What currently do you see yourself as a person? What kind of belief systems do you have that run alongside that identity? If you identify as someone who's destined to be overweight, right? If that is your belief, where do the habits come from that support that? Because your belief system has to change. Now, say perhaps you again having a look, you're struggling again, like, I don't know how to create that belief system, right? Another exercise I do with a lot of my clients, and it's very successful, is to really write down those belief systems. Now, they can be belief systems or they can be negative self-talk, either or, right? The top three belief systems you know are detrimental to your goals or what you're looking for right now, your top three, right? It's not a pleasant exercise, I can say that. So your top three beliefs that you have that you know are detrimental, like I'm destined to be overweight, I am unhealthy, right? And then you flip it. So I did ask clients this last week, I asked them to flip it. So this is your belief system now, write that down, now flip them. What would they be? And that client's now using those flipped statements or reverse statements as their morning affirmations. And actually I welcome everybody to this because it's fascinating when you work out what the worst thing you say to yourself as a belief, right? Because it's not fact anyway, but that's another life, right? Already done that one. So if you are struggling to get to that stage, ask yourself, is it true? No, flip it. There are your affirmations. There is your way to create your next identity. You want to be whatever you want to be, start believing in it, right? Which means changing your beliefs so all your habits and behaviours fall underneath them, right? Start thinking top down, not bottom up. Relatively quick one tonight because I'm going to smash this one. If you've got any questions about that, or actually even if you're an existing client and you're thinking, oh, that's different, I've not thought of it like that before, guess what? You can message me. You can message me if you're not a client anyway. Right, this is why we do so much of the identity stuff and mindset stuff in the challenge, because it's important. It's an important side of this, right? If you really don't truly believe that you can create the identity of a super fit, healthy person, there's where your habits and behaviours will lie. All right, so let me recap it. We often start with, right, here's my environment, here are my habits. These are things I'm going to change to become a healthier person, right? But when you ever get to that point where it's like, this is only going so far, why is it not working? Why am I not losing weight? Why am I not consistent? Well, the answer is because you don't truly have the identity yet nailed of who you want to be. Because if you truly believe you are someone who can't lose weight, if you believe you are somebody who is unhealthy as your identity, there's where you need to create the first big levels of changes, right? Start to create the identity of the person you want to be. If it's a superhero, fantastic, right? What would a superhero believe in? If it's an athlete, which is a great one, if you're an athlete, you're a top level athlete, what are your beliefs? I need to train regularly. I have to make healthy food choices. I am a healthy person. So if you have those beliefs that you've created out of this identity, real or not at this point in time, what would your habits be? Too often we start with environment and habits and we're not really thinking about what we truly believe. Write down those beliefs that you have right now. If they're negative and detrimental to where you want to get to, write them down. Write down your top three, or worst three, or bottom three, I should say, your bottom three underlying unhealthy, demotivating statements of belief, right? And then whatever it says, whatever format in a sentence, take that sentence and completely reverse it. I am destined to be over 100 kilos. I will be under 90 kilos. I am unhealthy. I am the most healthy person I know. Complete reversals become your affirmations, become your beliefs, become your identity, right? Ooh, deep stuff for a Thursday. Like I said, if you've got any questions about it or anything you want to know, hit me up with a message, comment below. Happy to get back to you. In the meantime, have a fabulous weekend, because I'll be back on Monday talking about how to make yourself unstoppable, by the way. So we're talking about that on Monday. So have a fabulous weekend and Valentine's Day. Yep. And I'll catch you next week.